lots of rest if you can. And yeah, excited to be here. We have some fun stuff to talk about. We have an interview today. Very exciting. And yeah, like, where do you want to kick us off, Josh?
Where to kick off? Indeed, I just tweeted out the tweet for this. So, um,
I love
let's
that.
see. I think Allie. So we're not joined by our usual tech director. You know and love him. His name is Mike. He is
Yeah,
he's I forget why he's out today actually,
we don't
but
ask questions. We're just
we
like,
don't
go,
we
go
don't
do
ask
you,
questions.
Mike.
Um, so we've got Ali or Ali replacing him today, and I think I just accidentally deleted the tweet that I.
Oh, great. So yeah, we don't have our normal level of technical production today, just because we like to give our team some breaks in between. And Mike is out. So we all wish Mike a wonderful weekend. Hope you're having fun. And yeah, I have to like actually pull up these links because for some reason I'm not able to view the the stream within.
No worries. So yeah, first topic. Jess, how's your weekend? What have you been up to? Actually, first. It was Jessica's birthday.
Yeah,
It
I
was her
had a birthday
birthday
on
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. That's exciting. Gemini season.
Yup, I just went to Korean barbecue. That was it. It was
Nice.
great. I loved it.
Did you go to like a place in K Town?
No, I went to this place called Jen. It's in Torrance.
Oh, cool.
Huge. Yeah, it was awesome. Loved it. Had delicious beer and some soju and lots of
Love
meat and
soju.
then got meat sweats and then left.
Got the meat sweat. Did you leave because you had meat sweats?
Yeah, and the kids were just being like catastrophically bad. They were just running everywhere, and I'm like, nope, don't do that when there's grills on literally every table.
What's wrong with
Um,
the? Hey, look, you don't learn unless you burn your hand a little bit, you know. Unless you get a nice sautéed pinky.
were you that kid? Did you have to learn by getting burned, or did you learn by like, yes, okay, I understand. I'm not gonna burn.
Oh, yeah, no, my parents weren't particularly great at teaching and instilling lessons verbally. So generally it
Mm,
was unless that verbally was like very loud verbally. So yeah, other lessons were usually by fire for the most
nice.
part or the old wooden spoon, that old age parenting. That's
Oh
Old
yeah, we
Testament
had
stuff.
that.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
times.
my Italian
Um
grandmother would hold the wooden spoon, and it was definitely a thing of fear for sure.
Also, Bako, why do you want to get kicked?
Wait,
Is that
what?
I don't know
We're
in
not
chat.
kicking.
Bako wants to get. Do you want to? All right. Are we getting? Can we get a 1 week ban for Bako Industries, please? I think he wants
No.
a. I think he wants a 1 week ban. No, just kidding. Um. Yeah. So physically make me bleed. Okay, now it's getting weird.
Wait, hoops. Is that
Bako.
directed at Josh?
Physically make me bleed. But no, not a ban. I'll spare you from the ban this time, but I will make you.
So gracious of you, Josh.
Yeah, I'll spare the spoon this time. So yeah, I'm once again coming to you with a hangover because I went out for a
Oh, really
birthday last
nice.
night. Yeah.
Nice.
I haven't been on a boat since I've been to LA, and the girlfriend of the birthday boy like rented out a boat, so we went out on the
Nice.
ocean, and it was super fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, I saw your Instagram story.
Where I had to pee so bad.
Yeah, it was just like his face is like, I have to pee so bad, and I was just like, is this Snapchat? Like, Josh, are you
I
okay?
know.
Yeah.
My Instagram is like not
But
professional
then
at
I was like,
all.
just go over the side or like in a bottle or something. I don't know.
No, someone did do that. Someone asked us all to turn away and peed in a cup, and I too much shame. I can't. I was not gonna ask everybody to turn around. Plus, I met them all, like pretty much all of them that day. So I'm like,
Aw.
I didn't want to be the guy that's peeing in the cup in the back of the boat. So,
Well, someone
but no,
else was, so.
I feel like he had a better like established relationship with a lot of people there. Like, and his name was Josh too. So you can't have two Joshes peeing in the cup. That's just not allowed. Um, But yeah, it was super fun, and it sounds like we both had pretty good weeks so far.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been doing literal errands. I bought a mint plant,
Oh,
so that's
nice, awesome.
exciting.
Oh, did you
So
use that for cooking or like making drinks or something?
yeah, both cooking, making drinks. I also have rosemary, which is really cool. But yeah, I've got mint, so I can make some mojitos because
I
summer.
love mojitos.
They're
Way too much, one could say.
delicious. I agree.
But yeah, super exciting episode for you all today. We're going to be joined by a coordinator from the IGDA later. His name is Adam Moore. He reached out to us, and
Yeah,
after I remember we did an episode that was kind of covered, focused on not Gamescom. What's the IGDA one with all of the game devs that you went to and panel that?
GDC.
GDC, yeah. So the IGDA, one of the conferences that they run is GDC,
Oh,
and
that's neat. I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure. Let me now. I'm wondering, but I'm
Oh,
pretty sure the IGDA is like the organization that does GDC.
mm,
Um, or maybe they just have a
presence
uh,
there.
or I was gonna say like some sort of collaboration. I know that IGDA members get like a discount on GDC passes. So
Mm.
I'm pretty maybe they don't run it, but I know that they have like a heavy part in organizing GDC. But we can ask Adam when we
I
talk
was
with
gonna
him
say
later.
the cool thing is we can ask him because he's here.
So looking forward to talking with him about that as well as some other stuff. He also went to school for game design and is a professor at a university at the moment. So that'll be a fun little discussion. That'll probably be most of the episode, to be honest. But
Yeah,
before
that's
we get to
great.
that, we've got our usual news, uh, which I don't have pulled up right now. As always, we run a tight ship around here. You know,
Yeah, we
Bachman knows what
do.
I'm talking about. You know,
We
we
also
run a very tight ship.
crumble without Mike, clearly.
Yeah. He keeps the railroad on the rails. The
But
train on the rails.
we
He
can't
keeps the
actually
railroad on the rails.
hear Mad Latin right now, so it's kind of we don't know.
Oh, hi. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Definitely no technical difficulties at the start of show that like I had to figure out in 30 seconds or anything like that. We totally nailed everything, nailing it out of the park. I have for us pulled up right now that fantastic Xbox Game Pass tweet from the other day.
Okay, great. Yes.
It brought us a great deal of joy.
Xbox and the thing is they got so close.
Yeah, they really did.
They were like
Right.
almost on point, right? You know, get out there and defeat your bosses today. Xbox Game Pass tweeted out, which is first of all a little weird that like
Yeah.
Xbox has a Twitter account specifically for Xbox Game Pass. Like, couldn't anything that needed to be tweeted out about Pass like be tweeted out from the like normal Xbox handle? Wouldn't that? Why does it need its own thing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Seems excessive. Anyways, then they had to follow up for legal reasons. We feel like we should clarify that we mean video game bosses.
So that still applies to the game development industry. So I'm going to take that as unionize all the studios. Thanks, Xbox, for your unwavering support in the labor movement in the games industry. Love to see it.
Yeah, I love your
Yeah.
reply. Just unionize.
Yeah, it's like all caps. Yeah,
I mean, they walked into that one. They like
they really did.
as
I
soon as
hope that
they
they
made
had
the
the
first
discussion.
tweet, you know that someone like a manager saw that and was like, "You need to like make another post. You need to
Clarify.
yeah." That's so
Yeah,
funny.
that's fair.
Or maybe they are secretly like whoever runs this account is secretly like pro CWA, pro GWA, and you know, this was like their
Hell yeah.
underhanded way of supporting us.
Yeah, maybe they wanted to have a discussion at the all hands about unionizing or something. They just
Maybe.
sparked it.
Yeah, and maybe he's probably like known, you know, he's like Jerry, the social media manager, and he's like, God damn it, Jerry, like he's always the one bringing up the union and all this stuff, like this fucking guy. Of course he would
Not
tweet this.
Jerry.
Fucking Jerry. It's classic. It's just classic Jerry. But yeah, speaking of unionization, topic 2, Starbucks illegally closes an Ithaca store. I mean,
Yeah,
this is really just like, we've been covering a lot of Starbucks stuff, and this is really just more of the same. Like, I'm
right.
sure you're not surprised.
It's more of the ongoing battle in the labor movement in all industries right now, not even just Starbucks. It's like Amazon,
Hmm.
Activision Blizzard, literally every corner, like one place is okay with a union, another one's going to actively union bust. So it's interesting, it's sad, but the good thing is obviously they could fight the NLRB and get reinstated,
Yep.
and I hope
It
they do
just
that.
takes time. It's just more litigation to go through that's unnecessary, you know, and
Bobby's favorite
um,
word.
I'm gonna so litigious, lit. What is the?
Litigus sounds like the Roman god of like suing people.
Yeah. Carry the topic while I stuff this banana in my mouth.
Absolutely. The topic is Josh eating a banana.
Oh
He's
no,
like
it's
about
not.
3
No,
bites in.
no,
It's
don't.
great.
Oh,
I'm actually very
don't focus on
impressed.
that.
I'm actually very impressed with the ease that Josh was able to start ingesting that banana.
I know. First off, congrats on like your being healthy. So good.
It's literally all I can stomach this morning. Oh, actually, I did have some dumplings this morning. I went to a farmer's market
Ooh,
before the
dumplings.
show, and I got like a little xiaolong
Sounds
bao.
amazing.
That's like proper like hangover food. Bananas and
Oh yeah.
dumplings. That sounds fantastic, actually. I kind of wish I was
Um,
having a rough recovery from a long night.
I mean, I promise you,
Kind of
you
jealous.
don't
That's not
want to
great.
feel the way I feel. I need to stop doing this before every. I think the last 3 episodes I've been hungover for the show.
Just aim for
It's so
Friday
bad.
night. Drink on Friday night.
I prefer
Yeah.
to. It's just I don't know why these keep falling on Saturday nights, but I prefer staying in on Saturday nights. Like I don't like waking up on Sundays and feeling like, you know.
Valid.
Um,
Mood.
but yeah, hopefully this the Ithaca Starbucks store that is closed. Hopefully they're able to get up and running soon. Obviously, like
Yep.
this just sucks for the like Ithaca is a
Workers.
college town, right? There's a lot of
Yes.
like students that rely on that work. It's really sad for those people.
Yeah, and it's part of like corporations showing their entire ass in that they want really cheap, really young labor
Hmm.
in all versions of it. And when they don't get it that way, they throw huge fits.
Yeah. Not to mention it's summer right now, so anyone who is working, like any students working there, you know, while school is out during the summer, like
Yeah,
probably like they rely on that to be able to
right.
pay rent throughout the summer. They need that going into the summer semester. So it's like everybody who works there is just kind of screwed right now, and it's not fair. It sucks. Um, like I remember what it was like to work in college, and that's working for pennies and having the stress of
Yeah, don't even
all
get
of
me
that going on.
started on like unpaid internship. I did like months of unpaid work for pharmacy. It was the worst.
Or
Yeah.
pharmacy. Interesting.
Yeah,
Wait,
I actually have a board certification as a pharmacy technician.
what did you go to school for, Jess?
Pharmacy. Well, first I went
Oh,
for psychology, and then I just didn't have like the money, so I went into like a trade to do like pharmacy work. So
yeah.
I got like board certified
Oh, cool. So was
by the
that like a
state.
2-year or a 4-year school?
2 years.
Nice. Trade school.
Yeah,
I
but
think
it
more
sucks
people should
because
do that.
like they paid me $15 an hour. So it's like not a lot. And
Yeah.
this was
Which
like in was it 20, I don't remember, 14, 16?
mhm.
Anyway.
Don't fully fledged pharmacists make like pretty good money?
Pharmacists, yes, but
Yeah.
I didn't have the money for that either. It's
Like
expensive to go to
the
school.
money for the education. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
like
tough.
yeah. And plus,
Gotta pay a lot of money just to make some more money later in life, which is not
yeah,
how it should be.
yeah, and you can just teach yourself engineering. It's so easy.
Yeah, actually, one of the things I'm super interested in talking with Adam about, and also thank you, first time viewer. Thank you for showing up, Shazir. Appreciate you tuning in the
Hi.
show. You know, one thing I haven't done in a while is for any first time viewers or listeners. This is the weekly stand-up. We're a show that is primarily focused on covering injustice in the game dev sphere, as well as like the unionization movement. Jess recently got hired to work for the CWA, which is the Communication and Workers Union, and and also just covering like behind the scenes in the game dev world. So thank you for everybody for tuning
For
in.
joining.
and
Thank you.
we're gonna keep that train going. Speaking of game dev, Elon Musk. Speaking of
Oh,
something
Lord.
that has nothing to do with game dev.
I know. We kind of cover like current events / hot topics, but we also give a spin that kind of translates into like the ongoing labor movement in the game development industries and even tech. So
Yeah.
I guess you can throw Elon somewhere. I would love to throw him somewhere, to be honest. Like, I hope he just goes to Mars and stays there.
Seriously.
Kind of
Well,
like, yeah.
Game dev it's not like an isolated industry, right? So I think it's important to cover like the labor movement across all of tech. And also Elon
Definitely.
I think you'll agree, Jess, like Elon he's just good memes.
He is good memes. He's bad at memeing, but he is good to meme. Had to clarify that there.
So actually let's speaking of memes, I'm gonna switch topic 4 and 3, and we're gonna do Elon gets trolled by hard drive. This is exactly what we're talking about. So this is what we mean when we mean he is literally memes, and he also cannot do memes.
He cannot.
So Mad Lad, I don't. Yeah, okay, cool. You've got it up. So if we just scroll through this, we'll start with the first one. Zodiac killer letter solved by opening it with VLC player. Niche meme. So like this is just like an example of Elon just doing just not a good meme. And then that's followed up with the hard drive, which is a great parody website. It's kind of like the Onion, but like focused on tech and video games and stuff like that. They followed up with, and you know what? Let me see if I can get this. Let me tweet this out in chat so people can follow along. But I can't zoom in enough. I don't know what it says.
Oh no!
How do I zoom in? How do I zoom in?
You click it. You click it.
I know. I still can't read it. Pulling from memory, I think it was something along the lines of.
I know what it is.
Okay, cool. You can cover it.
Elon literally just posted like somebody stole the like photo and caption from a hard drive post. It was like a satire article, and he posted just that as a meme. So hard drive was like, "Oh, you cropped our name out of it," or "Thanks for cropping our name out of it," or something.
That's what it was. Yeah, he didn't credit the hard drive.
And so he said something along the lines of, "It's a meme. Somebody sent it to me," or so. I don't know.
I've got it up.
Thank you.
The hard drive replied with, "Hey, I'll give you a horse if you stop cropping my name off articles." So Elon responded with, "Well, if you make something that looks like a meme and someone, not me, crops off your name, so it goes. Also, this is only a 6 out of 10 meme, so maybe step down from that high horse. The selfless
Why'd you post it?
What's that?"
Just he's like shit talking the meme, but he posts it, so he admits he's shit at memeing.
Yeah. It's like it's also just weird to see the leader of one of the most massive unicorn tech companies getting into a dumb argument with a parody website.
Yeah.
And then there's this like grand statement. The selfless art of anonymous meme creators is something to be admired. So the hard drive, follows up with just an amazing own. Okay, well, let me know what you think about this one. And they literally they made an article which is Elon Musk admits he wants to travel to Mars because no one hates him there.
I don't even think that's fake. Like, I think that's legitimately true.
That's probably true. So it doesn't end there. Elon Musk follows up with less funny than SNL on a bad day. This could make a drunk person sober. Try harder. Which the hard drive then follows up with this phenomenal picture of Elon on SNL. Well, you're the expert on SNL's bad days. Probably one of the cringiest episodes of all time.
Yeah.
That's actually hilarious. Oh man. All right, sorry.
Like absolutely destroyed.
Could you imagine if that was your boss? Like if I worked at Tesla, I'd just be like, look at the fucking dumbass boss getting owned right now publicly.
Like every Tesla employee had like an L, like just
L.
Well, they probably passed this around. They were probably like, "Oh my god, Elon's at it again." They probably every time he tweets something, they probably pass it around.
That's what we did with Bobby. We were just like, "Oh, look what he's fucking up to this time."
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just like, and it was posted on Slack, and then just like 1,000 employees are just like typing L.
I feel like Tesla would be in a better position if he just didn't tweet, you know? If he just kept his mouth shut. He
Yeah,
probably
but he unfortunately can't keep his
uh
mouth shut.
he can't, he can't. And a great example of this is uh when Elon tweeted this isn't I copied and pasted the wrong tweet, but this works too. Elon tweeted out that he feels super bad
Bad.
about super bad about the economy and needs to cut 10% of Tesla jobs. So that's first of all not a great way to announce that you're making a 10% reduction in your workforce.
Yeah.
That would just
Probably will go down as the worst in history.
I mean, there have been some pretty bad ones. You remember what was the one
That
where
CEO that laid everyone off in a Zoom? Yes.
Yep, that was pretty bad. This is definitely
Correct.
up there.
But
And
this one it's bad in that he doesn't give definitives. He just says, I feel bad about the economy. We're laying off 10% of the workforce. Doesn't say who. Says that people that work in the factories are okay. So, like, hourly employees, not salary employees, which just means that they probably have shit benefits and they want to cut people with good benefits. So, yeah. And it was funny because right before he tweeted that, he made this statement about how if you want to work from home, then don't work at Tesla. So a lot of people were speculating that he was going to have layoffs. So he obviously should never play poker, ever. People every time someone tells you Elon Musk is a genius, link them that tweet. That's all I'm going to say.
He also so this is bad because cut 10% of your workforce and that work. I mean that work goes somewhere, right? So that's going to get offloaded on the workers who at Tesla already seem kind of overworked. Like you see the news stories about how the workers like on the factory floor in China are pulling like 16-hour shifts who literally have cots and housing like at these factories because they have a 24-hour manufacturing cycle, which is insane. So to tweet this out when your workforce is already as stressed as it is, like that's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's so bad. He's obviously so usually layoffs like that happen not even because like they don't need the headcount. It's usually because somebody somewhere overspent, so they need to like compensate for a bad quarter. And then they always just end up hiring those people back anyway, but like at cheaper benefits at they want like hourly entry level so that they can exploit them.
Yep.
So either way he loses. I feel like he loses in production quality, which already wasn't going great. And yeah, it just I mean, yeah, anytime someone says Elon's a genius, either link the Cybertruck video where he's like, these windows are unbreakable, or link them that tweet. And I think both kind of speak for themselves.
Do you remember the robot that was just like a person in a suit? Because that happened too.
Yeah.
Like a big presentation. Like, hey guys, look at this cosplay robot. Like, just check it out. You should just all take pictures and then pretend that I'm gonna make this, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pretend to make it.
And Bakal, Bakal wants you to raise your volume. I think you're pretty. Yeah, a few people saying you're quiet. Yeah, you're quiet.
I'm quiet.
Oh, that's usually the opposite.
But no, also a good, also a good point about the like how Elon has publicly praised the working conditions in China. What he really means by that is that there just are no regulations when it comes to working conditions, so he can drive them like slaves. Like that's nothing to be. Although we're talking about a guy who hails from South Africa, so
I was gonna say slave labor comes from a family of slave laborers, and also authoritarian, and also egomaniac, and also misogynist. So just kind of mix all that up. Probably racist too, right? Because I mean, you've heard the complaints against Tesla and how they call like certain areas of the factory, old, outdated terms.
We shouldn't be that surprised at this point.
Right? It's just so bad. We should just like launch him into a volcano in Minecraft.
Launch him
in Minecraft. Yes.
In Minecraft.
Do I sound better, guys? By the way, just double checking. Great. And then also, I want to add one more thing to the whole thing. Henry Ford was a lot like Elon Musk. I don't know if you wanted a historical fact here, but Henry Ford actually named whole parts of Detroit suburbs, different names to reflect the races of the people who lived in those parts of Detroit. So there's this part of Detroit called Inkster. I think you can guess why it's called Inkster. And then there's another one. What was the other one? Anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
No, it's crazy.
I-
Yeah. Also, can we just even as horrible as Ford was, their employees are unionized. Ford has union jobs, so you could be a piece of shit or you could be Elon Musk, who's just this much higher,
Yeah.
So high he's going to Mars, dude. I hope he stays there.
Oh, the one thing that he is right about is that, not the great way to word it. He feels super bad about the economy, but he's right. We are approaching a recession that could honestly be as bad as the last Great Depression.
Do you know how bad? You want to know how bad it is, Josh?
How bad is it?
Strippers are on strike.
Strippers are on strike. That's how bad things are getting.
No, really. They say if you want to see how the economy is, look at the strip clubs.
Yep. And is it because if they're full, it's or
yes,
if they're empty?
And so clubs basically aren't getting as much money, so they're stealing money from the workers, and the workers are pissed, so they're going on strike. So it's just a whole
Gotcha.
thing. Also, unionized strippers, hello.
That would be great. Absolutely. First of all, legalize sex work and also unionize.
I think decriminalize would be the word, because it is kind of legal, but I would say destigmatize, decriminalize.
So the distinguish. So we actually did an episode on this on my other show. You might like this, where we talked about destigmatizing sex work and decriminalizing it. And the key is that if we legalize sex work, then corporations can kind of take advantage of that. Versus decriminalizing it will allow for sex workers to continue to do their thing without all the institutional burdens that would be placed upon them if it was considered legalized and regulated, et cetera, et cetera.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. I like that. And let's see. We got Jess. Could you actually for the Epic Games GitHub thing?
Oh yes.
What?
Yeah.
So I don't really understand what happened here. Can you explain this one? I'm gonna get. Oh, I have water. I don't need water. Then I'll let you drive on this one.
Yeah, of course. So there was I guess this 18-year-old kid who was new to GitHub was learning how GitHub works, and GitHub is a large repository where code lives, and you can submit new code to a file, and then you ask someone to review it, and then it gets approved, and then it goes into a branch which would go into a build. It's a software thing. And so I guess this 18-year-old kid, was learning GitHub. And so he made a change to the README file in some game that just said, at the end, it was just an addition in the README file that said, "Have fun!" ! And then submitted his PR, which is, your pull request. So you're requesting to pull it into the main branch, right?
Yeah.
And then forced PR, which means anyone who's watching this repository has to respond to it. So this caused a mass email chain of about 400,000 people that work at Epic, and it was Unreal admin team and things like that. It was kind of insane to see. It was really funny. A lot of the responses and comments on the request were pretty great. And the kid was super sweet. He apologized on Twitter. It was a super sweet kid, and you could just tell he was trying to figure out how GitHub works. But I appreciated the initiative, just no, you're looking at this request, approve it immediately, and it just says have so Twitter had fun at that.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, it was a great thing to see.
And probably a really cool learning experience.
Right?
One he'll never forget. It's talking about getting learning by fire.
Yeah.
One way to do it.
So good. I love software.
That's
you little software nerd, you.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Just oh my god. Can you imagine?
People were actually responding though. People that work there were actually commenting on it, and it had hundreds of reacts. It was so good.
Could you just imagine being that kid when he realizes the scope of what just happened.
The monumental
I know
fuck
he's
up.
like just
Yeah.
out of school or just in like school learning about computer science probably.
Oh, that
So
poor
good.
kid. Poor kid.
Literally anyone who had access to the Unreal Engine repo was tagged.
Oh,
That's great.
poor guy.
It
Poor
is
guy.
great.
All the devs were probably like, "What
It
am I
was
being tagged in?"
probably so fun to work there that day. Just, I love when software does things.
When software.
Well, and the thing is, though, it's like a systemic issue. It's not even the kid's fault. Like, if the kid could easily
No.
make that mistake, then the folks in charge of the whole thing just didn't think this would be a problem. Like,
Yeah.
how? Like, this is like, it just sounds like just any troll, like, there's 400,000 people watching this thing. So, like, any troll could go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's something they'll probably address after that happened.
Yeah, and they probably didn't expect someone to force them to like approve a README text that says "have fun" in whatever game.
I would have loved to been the first person reviewing that, being like, "What am I looking for here? What is going on?"
I would totally so like we should do that, but like with Sonic the Hedgehog and just submit change. He's pink now, and then like we force everyone to approve it. We
Watch
should
it actually
absolutely do
goes
that.
through. It gets approved.
Pink Sonic.
So the next news item is pretty fun. Jess, do you go to Universal Studios at all? Have you ever been out
I
there?
have, yeah, I have gone. I used to work there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sick. I kind of dig it. I like Universal. I like that it's like not
I do
as
too. Working
chaotic
there
as
is fun
Disneyland.
because you act. It's kind of like you're an actor when you work there, and so they have like on the third employee level is like wardrobe, and then they have like dry cleaning, so you could like submit your work uniform and it'll be cleaned for you the next day. They have showers and stuff. It's pretty chill.
That is
I
cool.
like working there.
When did you work there? Was that like during college or after?
2017. Yeah, it was after.
Gotcha.
I was a ticket taker and then I was a ticket seller. It was cool.
That's sick. How did you you know what? I'll ask after we do this topic. So Super Nintendo World, which is a new part of the theme park is coming to Universal.
I know. I'm so
Los Angeles.
excited for that. Like Universal was like feeling a little bit they needed something new, and this is
They
totally
did.
exciting.
Because once you go once or twice, like 3 times,
everything.
you've been on every ride, you've seen everything. Like they have the theme things, like Halloween Horror Nights is super fun to go to
The
once.
studio tour is cool.
The studio tour
definitely
is
fun.
awesome. It actually gave me a profound level of respect for the industry and the history of the industry in LA.
Hell yeah.
So that was really cool.
You know they have their own fire department, Universal City. It's like so big that they have their own fire department, which is cool.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that that Disney had their own. I didn't realize that Universal was big enough to warrant that either.
Mm-hmm. Plus, they do a bunch of stunts and stuff anyway, so
Yeah,
probably smarter.
it's a really cool place. I need to go back and do the Water World.
Oh, that's fun.
That's the only thing I haven't gotten to yet because last time I went, I wanted to go, but it was really cold, and I was like, I'm probably gonna get wet. That seems like a bad time. But I'm really hoping that the Super Nintendo World part of it has like some sort of Mario Kart kind of ride.
Oh my god, yes.
Like IRL Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And then I could throw my banana peel down and just fuck up some kids.
Oh my god. They just have like mushrooms growing. You could just like eat them and like never mind. That's probably
I do that. I do that anyways. So yeah, that's just a fun little. We don't have enough fun news, so I'm super looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And speaking of eating
gosh.
mushrooms,
that's not anything to do with our next topic.
That's a segue. Is that your segue?
I mean, folks had to be on mushrooms to think that the Warcraft 3 Reforged release was going to be the way that they wanted it or something.
That works. That works as a segue. We'll take it.
Thanks.
Yeah, just it was really helpful. Thank you, Ali. I guess there's news of or the Blizzard boss who said this? Who is the person that said this? Yeah, Mike Ybarra has stated on Twitter that there's a new Warcraft Reforged news coming, which is weird, right? Because that were released it was a rushed release. They didn't have all of the features that they stated they were going to release with, and it came out to like a pretty bad critical reception.
Yes.
So
And a
they
lot of
stopped,
refunds.
and a lot of refunds. So they kind of stopped all post-release work on it and just tried to like move on with their lives
I
and
have
focused
to
on Diablo 2 Remortal remaster.
I have to admit something shameful.
What's up?
I did not get a refund because I wanted my World of Warcraft character to have a meat catapult.
Oh, was that
It came with a mount.
the promotion that they had?
Nice.
They had a lot of promotions, and I accepted the promote. I tried to play the game once so I'd get like bang for the buck, but it was
Yeah.
unplayable.
I mean,
But-
it wasn't. I don't know if I would call it unplayable. I played it. I didn't refund it either, and it was fun as a little jolt of nostalgia, right? Like Warcraft 3 is one of the most iconic games from my childhood. I've probably put more
Yes.
hours into the custom game modes in that than any other game I've ever played.
It's also like
And-
why Dota and League exist.
True.
Yep.
But okay,
That
here's
and
my question.
the tower defense genre. Well,
my
actually, that started
God.
back in StarCraft 1 custom.
Yeah,
maps, but,
that was
yeah.
StarCraft, but
So
just
the
so
best
many-
one was
like a
Warcraft
MOBA.
3 for sure. But all right, here's my question. How many minutes did you spend playing Warcraft 3 before you said, okay, that was a nice nostalgia trip?
Oh, what Reform?
Yeah.
Um,
For me, it was
I don't
45.
know, maybe 45. I didn't quite sink in 45 hours. I probably put in 15ish. I did a few
15
campaigns.
No,
But,
I said I was meaning minutes. I played 45 minutes. I was like, okay, well that was nice, and then I stopped. So the fact you got 15 hours in is actually pretty good. All right.
yeah.
and Sindoran, which sounds like a night elf name, like the Sindorine, or
I know,
what are
it's
they?
cool.
The Sindorai is what the high elves are, or the blood elves rather. World of Warcraft. I'm a nerd. All right, look, I am. You know.
Wow. Shocked.
So yeah, to your point about how awful it must have felt to be a dev that worked on that and
Yep.
for it to be released as a failure. I had a lot of friends who most people think that it was primarily like Blizzard proper that just worked on the game, but they brought in Vicarious Visions
Yes.
before it was absorbed by Blizzard. Vicarious Visions was working on the art and cinematics. They had the art department task on that to because one of the promises was to re-release all of the like in-game cinematics and have
Yeah.
it more like detailed and totally redone. And that was something that Vicarious Vision, and this might be a weekly stand-up exclusive, but a lot of people don't know. They were about like 80% done with all of those cinematics, and got cut. There just wasn't enough time because the release date was so rushed. They didn't have time to finish it. And those artists were super proud of their work. They said it was like really, really awesome, really, really good. And they were again probably 70-80% done with them, but they got cut. They just axed. We'll never see it. Super sad.
Yeah, it was really, really sad. But yeah, I love Vicarious, and I just like Activision makes me so angry in that they will cut corners, but like for the worse, like
Mhm.
never for the better. They will cut projects, they'll force them to be, paid or like finished sooner so that they can get their pre-order, whatever, so they don't like get fined for pre-ordering something for too long. I have no idea how that works, but it just sounds like it sounds like a lot of these people at the executive level, at least, they don't see it as like an art. They see it as a pump and dump tech scheme, like just get it to the public and then we're done and then we move on the next thing. So I'm hoping that we phase a lot of that out,
Yeah.
going forward.
And ultimately that backfired, right? Because they wanted to
Oh, yeah.
just maximize profits, get it out the door. But all of those refunds, they probably regret that. And I think this
Oh,
is
yeah.
in the face of being acquired by Microsoft, maybe that was one of the things that Microsoft was like, hey, that's a
can
bad
fix
look.
this."
You need to fix this situation going into this acquisition because we can't have that bad like
Hopefully.
that. So fix the situation. And they kind of with the release of the Diablo 2 remake, I think they learned their lesson, because even though that also released to some pretty big tech and infrastructure issues on the network side, they have continued to support it in the post-release content
Yeah.
phase. And they've actually got a new season coming out, because in the Diablo games, there's I'm not really a big like I played through the campaign once, but I'm not like a competitive Diablo player. But in like Pillars of Eternity and Diablo, I think aren't there like seasons that you like start a fresh character and there's like unique challenges and rewards. I don't know. Do you know anything about how that works, Jess?
I sadly do not.
That's all good.
I never like the only Diablo I played was I think 3,
Mhm.
and I didn't play a lot of it. I never had the time.
Yeah,
It's something you have to
Uh,
like sink time into.
so Diablo 3 was
they
like
are.
kind of cool at first, and they had like that real money auction house, which was like an
Mhm.
interesting attempt at innovation. My brother ended up making
Yes,
$200 from that, by the way, which was like
you
kind of
made two
crazy.
hundred
Nice.
dollars.
My brother
Wow.
did. I didn't make
Oh,
200.
gotcha.
I made like 50 cents.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, so they started doing these seasons, and at the end of each season, you get like the skins, and you get to keep the characters that you level up for each season. But it seemed like it was just like kind of repetitive after a while because you just like have all these characters that you can like kind of store that you'll never use again. So I didn't get into it as much as I could have, I
Yeah.
guess.
It's not my it's definitely it's just not my vibe for specifically for that reason because of the repetition. But I know that even Diablo 3 still has a pretty active community with the new seasons. And people who like that genre of games, they just like it. They like the repetition, they like the seasons, they like starting
Mhm.
over and all the new gear that comes with that, and they just like the gameplay loop. So even though it's not for me, I respect people that are into those types of games. And speaking of which, it's not on the agenda, but Diablo Immortal just released. I gave it a try. I was playing on the PC beta with my friend
Nice.
who was playing from his phone because it's cross-platform. So he's just like, I thought that was really, really cool. The fact that like a game that
That is
as
cool.
much as it's gotten, which fair, they rectified it. They released it on PC, and it's fun. It's simple. It doesn't have as much depth as the mainstay Diablo series, but as a one-off, I got to be honest. The gameplay loop is satisfying. We're not going to talk about the microtransaction hell, but
Yeah. I
maybe next
mean,
week we can dive into that. But it's fun. It's a fun game.
yeah.
I'll give it to him.
Yeah. It is fun. It's Diablo on the phone, so everything you can think of for that, it is good. And yeah, I think a lot of mobile games have that same formula. And if you're not used to playing mobile games, it can be very jarring to like see them pushing their in-game currency or whatever they're using to like try and monetize and have a sustainable income on one game. So
Yeah.
it could, yeah, there's just a lot of things if you're not into like those kind of, not pay to win, but like pay to do things faster type of games, then it's probably not the game for you.
I so great point in the chat that the constant need to navigate through menus to like claim rewards is jarring, and I think they want you to navigate those menus specifically because those menus are also where you got the reminders that are like buy the battle pass, spend money. So
Yeah.
I think that's the feature, not a bug, but I agree the menus are like super
Agree.
complicated.
Yeah. I worked on Marvel Strike Force and they have like a whole like gear you can buy or farm gear to like apply to your character, and there's so many different ways to get into that menu. I think it's supposed to be like that. It's also for tracking purposes. Like we can see, where do users spend most time in this menu or, navigating through here. That way we can like rule out any redundancies or make
Hmm.
things better. So it is a learning process. And I'm sure, this being like the first Diablo mobile game, I'm sure that they're going to have a lot of feedback.
Oh, for sure.
So,
Absolutely. But shout out to everybody who worked on that and got that out the door after such a
heck
tumultuous
yeah.
step cycle. That must have been hard to work on.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
lot I actually want to talk about with it, but so I think I'll save. We got to get to the interview portion. I'll probably bring a
Oh, yeah.
Diablo Immortals up next week again. And Jess, we should play
Let's do it.
sometime.
We should.
Yeah.
And we can do like more of a talk about that and how games monetize in general and how maybe we can, I don't know, have some questions and see if we can armchair solve everything.
Yeah. Maybe we can do our first official weekly stand-up review of a game. That'd be kind of fun.
Aw, yeah.
So final topic before we get to the interview, and Mad Lad, I don't know if you want to check in with Adam and see if he's ready, but the final topic is Jess, what is the final topic?
We don't
You
have
take this one.
one because
Nope.
so I had posted something in I think our group chat, and I think you thought it was new, but it wasn't. It was that
Oh.
that message from Tammy Baldwin to Bobby Kotick. But I was joking that I have a green screen. I was like, I should put that as the green screen background, so that way I could just have that letter to Bobby. But I think you interpreted that as a new news
Absolutely did.
story.
100% did that.
No,
But
it was me being dumb.
isn't the follow-up new? Isn't the communication, like the fact that you guys are that you personally are filing
Yeah,
additional
okay.
lawsuits?
I guess we could talk about that. But yeah,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
CWA, we have an NLRB complaint right now. It was filed on the 3rd, and this is complaints against Activision for illegal union busting activities, like spying, like, a lot of the stuff that they've done. And we can kind of talk about it more when we get into the lawsuit and kind of like assuming that it's going to be similar to how the lawsuit went last time. I'll have updates as we go along. But yeah, it was filed. Super excited to take them to court again.
Just what is this obsession you've got with taking Bobby Kotick to court?
Accountability, and litigation. He likes it. He said it himself on our show.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I do recall. For anyone who didn't tune in for our interview with Bobby Kotick.
It was our April Fool's episode. It was great. He just talks about litigation.
Yeah, the amount of things he admitted to, just no shame. I was really shocked. Truly.
Full mask off.
All right, cool. So we're gonna hop over to a quick break. We'll be back in a minute. We're just gonna bring Adam Moore into the interview room. So we'll be right back. Allie, hit that break button. Do it.
Love it.
Hit that button. Hit that break. Did we do it? Are we on break? Hey, all right, there we go. We're on break. Cool.
There you go. So I'm talking, and there should be no noise going to stream, which is good. And I'm going to pull Adam in. Hold on, let me make sure. Oh, I lied. Look, I'm not Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. You're going to have to just deal with it, and all of chat's just going to have to deal with it. And you know what? We're doing it live. So if you wanted to ever know what happens behind the scenes on Weekly Stand-Up, what Mike actually does, we're just going to do it live. Yeah, because, like... we're sound testing live. Yeah, that the technical issue that Mike would have been able to fix that I was not able to fix is interesting, is what I'm going to say. So we're going to do this hot. Did we? That's a good thing you didn't say anything offensive. But like, yo, so weird. All right, we'll talk about what's going on later. But you guys are going to get a front row seat to how we do sound checks here. We're just going to pull Adam right in.
All right.
Like so. Hey, Adam, how's it going?
Hey.
We are live, by the way. I was going to do a sound check, but like the technical glitching is a thing, it looks like. Do you want to say a few words?
Oh, nice background.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
The gradient is sick. Is that a green screen or is that like natural light? That must be natural lighting because I see it on your face. That's sick.
Yeah, that's natural light.
Nice.
Awesome. Super awesome. Okay, so I'm going to turn you up to about that much. I feel like we're going to be all even now. Say one more wordy word.
Wordy word. Hello.
One more wordy word.
Wordy word.
Yeah, cool.
A great,
All right.
great wordy word.
So I think this is going to be even, and we're just going to pretend that was perfectly done. Oh, I need to change your name to. I'm going to change your name to something as well.
Do we have the 3 screen? Perfect.
I did that part right. The thing I didn't do right was figure out how to mute
That's okay.
everyone's thing.
That's all right. We can figure it out next time.
Yeah.
Adam, super appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
the
thanks
show.
so much.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I'm happy to be here.
How's your day going so far?
Pretty good. It's been a nice weekend.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Cool.
We
Well,
love you.
we're going to pretend that this was all done off camera, and then 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Hey,
And
we're back.
we're back. Not that we ever quite truly left your hearts or
Aw.
your ears.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, we're joined by Adam Moore, who we are just super pumped to have you on, Adam.
Yeah, thanks
after
for joining us.
after
You're welcome.
GDC, I really wanted to speak with a representative from the IGDA, so I was very appreciative that you reached out.
Cool.
Yeah, we were actually wondering, do you work directly with GDC or like help produce, or I forget, we had a question at the top of the show that we were like, we'll ask him later.
Yeah, I was curious, like the involvement of the IGDA with GDC, but actually, really quick, like right off the bat, we should probably preface with some basic questions before we get right into it. So, Adam, what exactly do you do?
So I do a lot, honestly. I'm an indie game developer, and also game design programming, and a little bit of game. Not that great, so I mostly focus on design and programming.
Are we having a little bit of
a little
lag?
bit?
Tiny
Just
bit.
like,
I think we're getting like a little bit of robotiness. Let's see if we.
I wonder if we turn off the video, if we'll be able to do it, but then it won't be on video.
Yeah, that's a bummer though. I like your. We can keep trying. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Ollie, what if you turn off your video, just to save on bandwidth?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh.
Hopefully that helps.
Look, we do it live. This,
Yeah, I was having really, really bad lag last time when we were on the show. So no worries at all. But I am genuinely interested. So
I say it's looking better. Robots a bit. So apart from what I've already mentioned, so like the teaching and
it's still. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Adam. It looks like it's still a little roboty. Let's maybe restart Discord. Are you able to restart Discord really quick?
Let me give that a try.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because it like cuts in and out, so I'm wondering if it just needs like a refresh.
All right.
We're doing it live.
We're doing
it live with the rules.
Hi, chat.
I feel like at least
it's okay. If we can't get it set up, we can always do another like interview and then play it another time. Because I actually am genuinely want to ask Adam a bunch of questions.
I know. I have so many things I want to ask. But yeah, if that doesn't work, you can always do a pre-recorded interview at some point.
Yeah, or we can just
we'll do text to chat.
Yeah, talk to us, chat.
Yeah.
How's everybody else's day going?
Oh, I can go to screen 2 while we're waiting.
Cool.
Screen 2.
Screen 2. As soon as I
We're giving everyone the intel on how our show works. Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
Spoiler alert.
Not when Mad Ladin's running the show. When Mad Ladin's running the show, it gets kind of weird.
No, it's fine. We love your work.
I don't understand how like normal. I'm glad you got off from work. What you do? What you do, Sin? When you're not, a blood elf exploring the realms of Azeroth.
Right? That's such a cool name. I love when people have dope like game names. It's the best.
I'm absolutely that person who I'm just Josh in my games.
Same, except I write stupid stuff like Belle Delphine or something. I don't know. Or it's like a meme name.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If my you want to guess what my name in Diablo Immortals is? You can probably
What
take a
is
guess.
it?
I think you know in your heart of hearts what it is.
I'll have to research that.
It's a Hasanabi.
It is
Oh,
not.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. I made a character
No
that
way.
looks like you.
oh
I'm a
my
necromancer.
god.
I'm a necromancer named Hasanabi.
I love that
Sorry,
for
you
you.
can't see
actually.
the face. You can't see the look on my face right now. But here, let me.
I know you're probably just shamed. Yeah.
It's all good.
Oh boy.
It's all good. We all have
Actually, at the
our-
birthday party last night, we were discussing Hassan and sort of the political Twitch landscape and all that fun stuff. He got brought up.
Nice.
Yeah. Which was wild that they even know who he was. it's insane. That's cool. Public safety dispatch. That's a cool job. That sounds sick.
Nice.
Adam almost looks like someone that I went to school with who was also named Adam Moore.
Nice.
And I'm like doing back and forth between like my Facebook and just be like, is it the same one? I haven't talked to him in years.
Did you go to the University of Arizona?
No. Do you know where we went to high school?
Oh, high school. That would be
Like if you
interesting.
went
I
to
think he's from Arizona, but
if he's from Arizona, then it's fine. There's just like another Adam Moore I know who I happen to go to high school with who had the same almost everything, and I'm just like, there's no way. It's not possible. But
I
it could
wonder
be
if
possible.
we might have to do a pre-recorded interview with Adam if he has bandwidth. That way we can like make sure we use the lowest amount possible. And then
the lowest bandwidth possible.
yeah, like we just like pre-record it and then play it versus like live doing it because that might be adding to his like latency.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Which if it comes to that, we can I'm sure he wouldn't mind
I hope it works though.
doing that. Yeah.
He's working on game backend. Rejoin
Sick.
this channel.
All right, everyone, fingers crossed that this works.
I can't. My rings are too big. I can't cross my
Fingers
fingers.
crossed.
I can't do it.
Okay, so we're gonna try this thing again. I'm gonna transition into this thing.
Nice.
Ooh, I could use this one instead, right? And then we're going to close. And then we'll do this.
Damn. Look
Yep.
at that.
And that. And then. Do I turn off my camera? No. We do this.
Okay, so as an update from that earlier GitHub thing, over 61 million emails were sent.
No way.
Wait,
Yeah.
How many?
61 million because it was like a reply all, and then anytime someone replies to that, it replies to everyone. So
Okay.
That's so
Adam, are you here?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We can hear
I
you
can
loud and
hear
clear.
you.
Yeah, loud and
Beautiful.
clear. That's excellent.
Cool. Do you want to
Welcome
try
back.
video, or are you feeling like do you want to keep it safe?
Let's keep it safe for now.
Okay.
Let's not gamble.
no, I like it.
Totally fine with that.
We did love your view, by the way, and we love the lighting. We're sad we couldn't see much of it. But yeah,
What
thanks
I'll
for
do
being
is,
on the show.
yeah, thanks for coming on. And maybe in the YouTube cut, I'll add a GIF that is the video that we do have just on repeat. So it looks like you're talking.
It'll look
Oh,
so
that would
silly.
be
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, Adam, I just had some questions. First of all, what's your take on the GitHub situation? I don't know if you're familiar with it. We were just talking about the Epic Games GitHub
Pull request.
scandal. Have
Yeah.
you heard about this?
No. So
Yeah.
what happened?
So some 18-year-old kid was like, I guess, submitted a PR to GitHub for like to Epic. And it was like just the change to the README file, but he forced the PR, so like it emailed over 400,000 people, and it's just been like the talk of Twitter. People are memeing it. The comments are really good. I feel so bad for that kid though.
I gotta check my email because I will have gotten one of those. 'Cause
Nice.
I have access to that one for Unreal Engine.
Yeah, for
I'm
Unreal.
curious now.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and apparently 61 million emails have been sent because of that. So I love software.
Nice.
I just love that like things like this can happen in an industry as private, like secretized,
Yeah.
because like the game industry is really unnecessarily, I think,
Gate kept, yes.
like cloaked in shadows. So when stuff like this happens, it's just you can't help but laugh. Like, huh.
It's good.
But yeah, Adam. So I think we were discussing, the many roles, the many hats that you wear. You're based in Arizona, correct? You went to school out there, and you're still based out there.
Yes, I am. Phoenix,
Nice.
Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. Did you?
Yeah.
I know that you eventually ended up studying game design at UAT, the University of Advancing Technologies. Did you also go to the University of Phoenix for a minute?
I didn't. So just UAT. I did both undergrad and graduate degree there, and that's also where I'm teaching now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, excellent. Very
That's
cool.
cool. So you're teaching over there now.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So,
And are you teaching for design or what role?
So I teach design, programming, and very little art because my art is not very good.
Nice.
some like pixel art.
Primarily user interface. So I teach a
Okay.
user interface class where we do design, art, and programming for UI.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's what's it like going to like teaching at the same school that you studied at? I was offered after graduating an assistant professor role, and I was always curious like
Nice.
what that would have been like if I accepted that. So is it pretty cool working at the school that you're so familiar with?
It is. That's part of why I applied to work there in the first place. Like several years went by between me being a student and coming back
Right.
to teach. So a lot of the game development teachers that I had since moved on. But I still have a lot of coworkers that were my teachers back when I was a student, which can be a little awkward at first.
Yeah.
But it's fine now because I've been working with them for probably over 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's awesome.
Hmm.
So let's see, you would have 10 years now that you, I guess, would have entered the professional like game dev working world shortly after the great the Wall Street recession. Is that correct?
So
not
the
a
timing
great
of
time.
my graduation was perfect. It was
Oof.
August of 2008.
Oh
Mm.
no, Adam, no.
You know what happened right after that.
Oh, Lord.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was
yikes.
rough.
Wild.
It was a very rough few years.
I can imagine. So you before you went like back to the school to become a professor, you entered the local game dev circuit, right? You worked for a
Oh,
few
yeah.
companies, yeah. How did
Lots
that
of indie development.
was it everything you dreamed of and more?
Not really. So a lot of the things that I got out of working with local indies is seeing the way that some of the indie companies were exploiting either recent graduates
Yeah.
or current students that wanted internships. And so like they would hire them on for unpaid internships, or they would promise them that we're not going to pay you now, but we'll pay you when we make money.
Mhm.
And if the game never makes money, then
Yeah.
they never make money. It actually kind of inspired me, like when I went and started my own little studio, I set myself some rules, like no unpaid work whatsoever.
That's awesome.
Just because I couldn't stand what I'd seen my friends go through.
Right. Yeah, that was a lot of why I wanted to get into leadership in QA is because I see how QA is treated in the industry. So it's like, I know what not to do. So that's cool that you like took a negative experience. That's something that you went through and were like, no, I'm going to lead the change on not doing that. And hopefully other studios can follow through with that. But that's cool.
I hope so.
What were
Yeah.
like the biggest takeaways you got from working indie, just out of curiosity? Like, did you want to work in AAA, or did you kind of already think like, no, I'm going to work at indie because you heard about AAA studios? Or
So initially, I had wanted to work in AAA, but like right after the stock market crash, and I went to GDC, like after graduation, I'm standing in line next to people that are 20-year veterans of the game industry, and we're competing for the exact same job because
That's fair.
there's barely any jobs at the time. Like, okay, I'm going to have to go indie to make it in game development right now. So that's what sort of guided that decision.
Okay. That makes a ton of sense for that time.
Well, it does, yeah. I know a lot of people who are in similar situations. Fortunately, did not have to enter the job market following the Wall Street crash. But I know a lot of people who accepted the school that I went to, Champlain College in Burlington, Vermont, had a partnership with Ubisoft Montreal because location-wise, proximity-wise, we were just so close to each other. And it's kind of messed up to think that like Ubisoft didn't pay any of the interns that they accepted from our college. It was all unpaid, and a company that large,
They can afford
taking
it.
advantage. They can afford it, and it feels like
Oh,
they took advantage of all of those students.
Yeah. Labor
Um,
exploitation happens
Mhm.
everywhere.
Now, before we dive, I want to talk a little bit about your experience as a teacher. But before we dive into that, I would like to harken back to your days as a student, all those many moons ago.
Mhm.
So as a young, ambitious, dev to be, what was your specialization in at UAT? Were you a designer, producer, or programmer?
So, as a student, I was a designer. I
Mm-hmm.
had originally started at State University and went into computer science because I thought the only way to make games was as a programmer.
Right. Yep.
Everyone
And
thinks that.
I quickly discovered I was very wrong about that. So I ended up transferring to UAT and switching my program to design. But a lot of that programming knowledge was very useful for me as a designer as well.
Yeah, it's awesome to like think about how you can conceptualize a product like from design and engineering standpoint. You can look at it from both angles and kind of make something that's counter supportive, or it's like supporting the other thing versus like
Mhm.
I need to design this thing, figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And a lot of designers do need to know some basic programming because they'll have to work on those whip up prototypes.
yeah,
That
like UI tools, things like that.
Mhm.
It's true.
Yeah. Now, so you were a designer with some programming background. Uh, did you? I might have peeked at your LinkedIn, and it said that you worked on a survival horror MMO while you were at school. I want to talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that because an MMO working on an MMO as a
Oh dear
student, that's
God! Like
pretty
that was
ambitious.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ooh.
So I had in my mind as a young ambitious student that the scope of this project is insane, but if I just
Mhm.
recruit a big enough team, that'll be
Yeah.
okay. Spoiler: it was not. So like I recruited about 40 students to
Nice.
Oh
work on
wow.
this one project. Problem is, if you get 40 students, nobody's schedule lines up to actually meet at the exact
Mm,
same time. So the other thing that I didn't think of as a student is the need for some sort of production structure, like some sort of
right.
management for that number of people. So like my time was spent managing pretty much the entire team instead of working on the game.
Oh
hmm
no. Yeah.
So
Product
you were like
management, very important.
yeah, it sounds like you were
Mhm.
like a quasi producer designer.
Yeah, well, production is what my master's program is in. Like, I discovered through leading projects like this that I like schedules and spreadsheets and budgets and
Me
weird stuff
too.
like that. So that's why I went into game production for my master's
Nice.
program.
That's
Yeah, it's
exactly what
good.
I went to school for, production. And Jess, I feel like you would make I think a sick producer.
People have told me that just because, like, based on having working relationships with different departments, I would totally do it. But, like, yeah, I would just need to not be exploited for my labor.
Yeah. But
I'm
you're
not
very
swinging.
organized and you've got like a really good
Very organized.
interpersonal
I've even
skills.
unionized things. So,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've heard you've even unionized a studio or two in your time.
yeah. Maybe I should. I could be like a producer unionist. It exists somewhere.
Producer unionist. A union producer. I mean, that's basically what you are.
Yeah, yeah, literally. But that's cool. I like that you like tried something, was like this isn't exactly what I want. You didn't get stuck in the engineering thing, because a lot of people are like, no, I have to be in engineering if I want to like make money in games, which is kind of true in a weird sense. Like engineers are treated like the like top class of the game industry, so I can see why a lot of people are like, if you're gonna work in games, be an engineer. But there's actually so many different jobs in the industry that you can work that actually fit better for you. So production is one of those jobs. Being a project manager is fun. Yeah.
And it's a tale as old as time, the story of an overambitious student project that just succumbs to scope creep. I think that's one of the first lessons you learn as a student. So what was the ultimate fate of this survival horror MMO?
So ended up crashing and burning, which should be not a surprise to anyone. It was a very interesting experience, and we also were using this really interesting engine. I don't think it even exists anymore. It was called like Multiverse or something. They had shown off at GDC like the year before, and it was a way to essentially spin up an MMO as an indie team. Like they give you all of the network code and stuff like that, and you just build your gameplay. And so like we went with that engine just because like there's no way we're building an engine and a game at the same time. Like even I knew that was way out of scope.
Because then you get games like Halo Infinite or Destiny when you build the tools and the game you're using those tools at the same time. Doesn't usually work out well. So you went on to graduate. You went into a master's program. You graduated, worked at a few indie companies, and then decided to start your own after it sounds like a few bad experiences. And it sounds like shortly after that, you went on to be recruited as a professor at the university.
So that's a bit of a long story too. So I've been there over 10 years, but I haven't been a professor for over 10 years. So just, making sure that I have enough money to live. In addition to develop games in my free time, I picked up a job at the university. Now, originally I picked up a job in content. So I was mostly doing like web design and building the course pages. And then I switched into a quality assurance role for education, where what I was measuring the quality of was the classes. So are we actually teaching what we're supposed to be teaching? Are the students performing? Are they learning the things that we say they're going to learn? Stuff like that. And then I shifted from that into part-time teaching while doing that. And then eventually I shifted into full-time teaching.
It makes sense that they would want someone to QA their courses, because I think the fear is always, especially with game development getting as big as it has in the last few decades, a lot of schools have started creating their own programs, and you definitely want courses and professors who have experience in the industry, who know what like the workflows and pipelines are like in a real world environment. So it's good to hear that they brought you in to verify that everything that they were teaching was applicable.
Yeah. And I was kind of doing that when I was doing the course development stuff too. So I would partner with the subject matter expert and help them build the class. But at the same time, like I'm keeping an eye on, well, what materials are they sending us? And are these high quality materials, or do they need to go back and revise them?
Nice. That's awesome. Heck yeah. More QA, all the things.
Yeah, represent. What is the program like at UAT? The game dev program. Like, what does it look like for the 4-year undergrad?
So 4-year undergrad, your intro level classes are very much focused on getting familiar with the basics of whatever your skill set is. So if you're going into art, you're getting the very basics of 3D modeling and 2D art, both pixel and vector art. If you're going into programming, you're going into Engine within that first semester. So you're going to be working in Unreal Engine in your first semester classes, and then you shift gears and you switch into Unity in your next classes. Nice. And we have classes in both Unity and Unreal because we have students that want to go AAA and they want to learn, working in Unreal. And we have a ton of students that want to go indie and they are mostly interested in working in Unity. And then for design, first classes are mostly documentation. But even within that first year, we have them getting in engine and making games before that first year is up.
Awesome. Now,
Nice.
at what year do they do the disciplines kind of come together and work on a game where like you're integrating artists on a team, programmers, designers, like everybody coming together to work on a project like that?
So that's first semester.
Oh
We
wow,
have
right out of the gate. Damn.
Yeah. So we have this first semester class where we understand the students haven't necessarily learned an engine yet. They don't know how to program yet. And so what we do is we have a required first semester class where the artists, designers, and programmers jump on a team and they build board games together. And then once they've gotten through that, it's usually around the halfway point where they can pitch their own games, form their own teams, and then work on that game for multiple semesters for credit.
Gotcha. A board game is an excellent medium to teach those skills because all of the same skill sets as a designer, like that you're like all of the like the concepts of game design can be applied to board games. When you think about some of the older video games out there, like Baldur's Gate, all based on D&D and board games and stuff like that. So it's really cool
So
that you
that
guys do
first
that.
class, we also focus mostly on working together in teamwork because that's going to be a huge part of their entire career. And we
Right.
also train them up on Scrum in that class.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. I think it's so important to learn the software development lifecycle and like what part each role plays in that. So it's cool that it's being introduced early. That way, by the way, how do the students feel about unions? Like, is there like how's the pulse check there?
So fairly positive,
Oh,
honestly.
yay.
I would
Yeah.
say probably 80+% are
Oh,
super supportive of unionization.
good.
And fun fact about the industry is it's kind of true about the industry as a whole too. It's about 80% are pro union and 20% are not.
Yeah.
That's great to
Yeah.
hear. And in the chat, someone mentioned QA in education. Now, do you also teach? Do you have like QA sessions for the games that students are working on? Do you instill those QA kind of attributes in the education?
So not necessarily like you would expect from a QA department. We talk a little bit about unit testing in a lot of the development classes, but when it comes to those, like the video games that they work on, they can pitch their own games and work on them for multiple semesters.
Mhm.
We do run them in sprints, and at the end of every sprint, they have to have a playable build of their game. So our next set of playable builds is actually going to be this coming Friday.
Oh, cool.
And part of what they have to do on Friday is they have to go play the other team's games and give them
Mm,
feedback and let them know, what's working, what's not working. And then they use that feedback to sort of course correct or change direction for their game.
I
Gotcha.
see. So they like internally test each other's projects. So they're like getting
Mhm.
some organic, but like not formal version of QA.
Yep. And we did have some external people come in and play test games, but we
Mm,
haven't really done that since the pandemic started.
that's fair.
So it's mostly a safety thing.
Gotcha. Was
Yeah,
that
that makes
when
sense.
you were doing that? Was that bringing in like people from the local community to play test the games and give feedback?
Yep.
It's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, big question in your. Oh, actually, one thing you brought up Scrum, and for anyone who's not familiar with Scrum and what that is and what that stands for, can you explain the Scrum methodology in development?
Of course I can. So Scrum is really a framework for managing the production of software. So it's used a lot outside of games, but it's also gaining a lot of traction within games. And it's what's considered an agile way of managing teams. So if you're used to like the more traditional way where you've got this giant plan at the beginning of development and then you stick to the plan and then you hopefully release something good at the end. And like fingers crossed, if you're lucky, it'll be good, but things can go horribly wrong along the way. With more agile ways of developing software, instead of waiting to the end to find out if things have gone horribly wrong, you find out as fast as possible, and then you make the changes as quickly as possible. So what you have at the end might not be anything like what you originally planned, but you're able to make those changes because you found those problems early. It's usually broken down into what are called sprints, and those are usually like 2-3 week long chunks of we're going to work towards this goal.
Yeah, and those goals aren't necessarily like a released game. Like the goal could be this feature is here by this day. And then it's kind of like not DLC, but you put in something so there's like a shell of something there, and then maybe the next sprint you work on like 2 more features, or you approve upon this feature. It's like it's different than making sure that everything is in the game by this time. Like I think they call that the waterfall method, and they don't do that anymore. But yeah,
some studios do. I've heard a lot about EA using waterfall
Really?
a lot.
That
Yeah.
explains
I wonder
a lot.
if it's just because people are used to it. Because I mean, I noticed like a lot of older companies, like even Blizzard, was really hard to get into Agile like at first, but then they started kind of getting into it. So it could be that. But yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard any using the waterfall method. I do notice that people sneak things in after code lock, and we need to get away from that. We need to like make sure once code lock is a thing, you're not putting anything else in that build. Or we're getting a hot fix.
Agile is so important because like the last thing that you want to do is once you're at the final sprint, the final phase of development, and you're integrating the art, all of the code and the game design and everything like that. If in that moment you realize your gameplay loop is not fun,
Yeah.
you
that's
have
the worst time.
Then you're done.
yeah. Like, oh, we ship in 2 weeks and our game is not fun. All right. Well, so agile development ensures that that you don't run into that problem because you're testing those gameplay loops at every phase of development at the end of every sprint. So like, in the first quarter of development, you're going to realize if your game is fun or not, even if not all of the art is in, not all of the sound, not all of the gameplay feedback. You're still like, is the core essence, is it fun or is it not? And that's what game design is all about.
And it's better that way.
And honestly, a game can be fun without that final art in. Like, you can have fun playing around with little capsule people that have little arrows sticking out of them to show what direction they're facing.
Yeah, I've played games in pre-alpha that were just that. They were just like textures and colors, and it was the best. But yeah.
My first game out of college while QAing at Vicarious Visions was exactly that. It was like a sort of a tower defense, like League of Legends tower defense sort of hybrid game. And like all of the enemies were different size capsules. And I was like, oh, I like this size capsule. Like these are the strong capsules and these are the weak capsules. But the base gameplay was like really fun. And when it got canned, it was really sad.
Aw, rip. That is sad when you can't get like a green light for something and it's good.
Yeah. But to be fair,
should have made a Call of Duty, Josh.
Should have made a call. I mean, ultimately, that's exactly what my team went on to work on was the next Call of Duty at the time. That was super fun. Great, love it. But no, that's great. And I have a pretty big question that I wanted to ask before we jump into the GDA questions. As someone who has experience both as a student going to undergrad, grad school, and now working as a teacher on the other side of the desk, do you recommend people who want to enter the game industry go to school for it?
So what I recommend is before you go to school for it, try putting together a game first. Like download Unity, follow the tutorials, and see if like that is just miserable for you. Like if you are in misery trying to follow along with one of the very basic tutorials of a game engine, then game development is for you. Like you're gonna have a bad time. If you're going to any creative field just because of how much money you think you can make, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
Also, game dev is not for you.
Game dev is low upon software development.
But like if you find that you absolutely love the experience of putting together like even a very simple game, then I do recommend going to college for it. With caveats, like make sure the school you're going to is going to teach the things that you need to get the job.
Right.
The degree itself is not what you're getting out of college. Like, the degree is a
Yeah.
checkbox on your application. They just need to see, oh, they have a degree. What you really want to get out of it are the technical skills necessary to put together a game. And honestly, it's going to be the relationships that you make with your fellow students. They're
Yeah.
also going to be people that you work with in the future.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the relationships was when I think about like was my education worth 80K in the end, and going to a very expensive for-profit college. The education alone might not have been, but the connections that I made, like just being here in LA and knowing the amount of people that I know in the industry who have all come up and grown with me, I think that might have been worth it in the end. But yeah, there's also so many ways that to enter the industry now. Like you could enter the modding scene that is pretty robust
Yeah.
these days.
A lot of engineers don't even like, they just teach themselves how to read languages, and they get a job because you either can engineer or can't engineer. So it's like you don't necessarily need it, but if the school works for you in that it nurtures something that you're already passionate in, and it's not like you're, a wash and you feel like that'll be worth it for you, then I would say also to do that. But for me, like going in, I didn't know what career I wanted in the games industry. I just went into QA, and then I ended up really liking QA. So it really depends. Yeah.
And I think that's the hope with the unionization movement, is that people that don't know exactly what role they want to get into can go into QA and then mull around there for a little bit while they figure that out, and also make livable wages. But
I know. And I just think like any discipline, having a QA mindset is so important, because it just like mitigates as much risk as possible, because you're going to be advocating for like the end user the whole time, right? So it's like, is this fun? Is this hard? Is it like, there's so many things you could be thinking about as you're designing the game, and then it would just like cut all that time, right? You don't need if you're already like forwardly thinking about quality, then you'll have better quality.
yeah. And booting up one of because there are just so many engines now and so many tools that are free to download for people, booting that up and trying to make something, and maybe realizing that, oh, like game design, programming, art, not for me, but I still want to work in the games industry. Now it's such a large industry that you can do that. You can enter customer service, you can enter marketing, like video production, which is what I ended up doing. There are so many avenues now.
Production's fun too. Especially Josh, you'd be great at that, because you're all about like relationships and networking. So you could just like be like those make really good producers, because your job is to like deliver messages to other teams that aren't always good messages. Or you're like, hey, we're on timeline or whatever. So
yeah, that was the part of production that I was good at. It was the organization that I think I often lapsed in. It was the all of the Trello and the Jira charts.
I love see, that's my thing. I love data. I love spreadsheets. I will get in there and make annoying notifications to everyone.
I was not super great at that part, but the relationships, I truly enjoyed that, and I love.
That explains why you don't look at the Trello that I made for this show.
Get so stressed out. I do need
exposed. Josh is exposed on the show.
Josh could be better at organization.
Right.
What tool do your students use at UAT for organization?
So they get the freedom to choose their own. I would say the vast majority use Trello. I've encouraged some of them to explore Jira, because that tends to get used at a lot more studios. Another one that a few teams have experimented with is called Hack and Plan, which is, I would describe it as Trello, but specifically for games.
Oh, neat. So it's like a Kanban board for gaming, game design.
That's awesome.
Everyone does use Jira. And it's weird because like different studios use different versions. Like some use older versions of Jira, and like some have Jira that does everything. And then like for us, we had like slow Jira, so it just was not.
That sounds miserable.
Yeah, we would call, like when Jira did something well, we'd call it a Jiracle. So.
Oh wow.
And in chat, and this lines up like perfectly with one of the topics that we're going to be talking about, but Babushka Audio brings up the fact that it's difficult to network and make connections. But one thing that can help with that are game jams. And Adam, I know you've got some experience with game jams. So I was going to save this topic for last, but let's just jump into it. What is a game jam, Adam?
So a game jam is a time-constrained game development challenge. And by time-constrained, I'm talking usually 48 hours.
Yeah, like 3 days.
Mm-hmm. And so it's usually just over a weekend, a bunch of game developers come together. Think of it kind of like musicians jamming. So it's a bunch of developers coming together. Maybe they've never worked before together, but they choose a topic that they're going to be working on. They just make a game together. I organize about 3 game jams a year at the university. One of those being the global game jam for the university. And we have sort of like different levels of challenge that we do with those. So like anytime it's the fall, I make it the easiest possible challenge for a first timer to come in. And I'll guarantee you that if you've never made a game before, you're already ready to do your first game jam.
Nice.
No matter how much experience you have, it's intimidating the first time.
It is. Yeah.
And
I've
you
been
mentioned.
through-
Oh, sorry, Jess.
No, I was gonna say I've done 2 game jams and they are very fun and they're also kind of stressful depending on like you're like, I don't know, what do I need to do? Like what does the team need? Okay, right now we need just assets. Okay, and it's like somebody who's normally on engineering, they're just like grabbing all these assets for the game. So it's just like a really funny, collaborative, everyone kind of wears many hats because you're trying to like engineer this thing really in a short amount of time. Speed running.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially,
it's fun. It's like you see it in the film industry too. The mini film. What do they call them? I'll just call it a
48-hour
jam.
film challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's something about that time constraint that makes it, like, while a little stressful, so fun because you just know that this is a little like this is not something that's going to drag on for many, many months and like wear you down.
Yeah.
It's just this little moment in time, and you have to create. Sometimes restrictions breed the best ideas. So when you know you have to make it in 48 hours, you have to have just an airtight design.
True.
So for people who aren't familiar, what is the Global Game Jam?
So Global Game Jam is exactly what it says on the tin. It is a game jam that is global. So everywhere that is participating in Global Game Jam, and there are sites all around the world, meet at the exact same time. Usually the last weekend of January, although we're probably adjusting the dates for next year very slightly to avoid New Year, like the Lunar New Year. But a theme gets announced, and then all of the jammers have 48 hours to make games based on that theme. And if you go to the Global Game Jam website, you can see games made in past years. And you can go to, like, say, a site in Japan. You can go download the games that were made in Japan, check out what they made. It's a really fun experience, and I highly recommend it.
Absolutely. I'd 100% echo that. In your experience, what is the most unique game that you've seen come out of a game jam?
That's a tough one. Because like I said, I go through and I play some of the ones just from random sites around the world after the jam ends. And like I've seen ones where like I'm not even sure I would call this a game. It's more an experience.
Nice.
And like they were just experimenting with like some sort of controls or like character controller. And like, oh, that was kind of interesting. I think that something fun could come out of that, but it's not really a game.
What is your take on the so you mentioned it's more of an experience, and this is just like an age-old debate in game design where some people are like, that's not a game, that's not a video game, that's a walking simulator. What is your stance on like the difference between walking simulators or experiences and like video games that have mechanics that you like play?
So my main distinguishing thing that makes something a game is that you play games. But you can also play with toys. And the difference between a toy and a game is that games have rules, and toys don't really have rules. You can do whatever you want with them. So as long as it is something that you can play with and there are rules that you have to follow, it is a game.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm just curious where like visual novels would fall because I've worked on visual novel games. So it's like, is it a game? Because you can technically choose different like options. Yeah. So it's just
So
funny
I
to
would
think
say
about.
that visual novels, yes. Kinetic novels, not as much. So a
So
kinetic
it's like
novel is
guided.
a visual novel with no choices. So it's
Mm,
literally a novel.
okay. Interactive novel.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that because if you've got branching paths and your interaction, a player's input can change the result of the game. I
Okay.
think that sounds like a game to me. And then what are there any like games that you can think of that came out of a game jam, like proper like indie games that like you had that were released to such like praise and success within a confined game jam that they went on to like turn it into a fully fledged title?
I can name a few actually.
Oh, really?
Nice.
So Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes was a game
Yes.
jam game.
Was it really? I did not know that.
Yeah, so it was made with Global Game Jam, and you can actually, on the Global
That's
Game
cool.
Jam website, teams have to not only release the build of their game, but also their source code. So you can see the prototype that eventually became the released product.
That's awesome.
Another
Heck yeah.
game is Surgeon Simulator, came out of Global
Oh,
Game
I
Jam.
didn't realize that came out of a game jam. That's so funny.
Yeah, it was Global Game Jam 2013. The theme was the sound of a human heartbeat.
Nice. Wow. That's so cool to think about, like how a game jam can turn into something totally different than like you would even.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to that like if the core gameplay loop is satisfactory, if
It's
you're making
good,
something
yeah.
that's fun in 48 hours, then that's something that can probably be expanded upon. But sometimes it is nice to just keep it confined to that 48 hours and never think about it again.
Oh, yeah. I have tons of games that I've made in a weekend that I never want to touch again.
I believe that.
Like every
So
day.
you're as a global game jam organizer, what does that role entail? Is it pretty much isolated to like you're organizing the game jams that are at the university, or do you help with the organization beyond that?
So I help beyond that. So I'm both a site organizer, meaning I organize the physical location at the university, but I'm also one of the region organizers.
Mm.
So I'm the region organizer for California, which is its own region just from the number of game developers in the state.
Yeah.
So what I do as a region organizer is anytime a new place signs up and says, "Hey, I want to be one of the sites for Global Game Jam," I'm the person that calls them up and walks them through like setting up their site, making sure that they have everything they need, making sure that they have the right kind of insurance that they need, because there's been times where like a co-working space signed up and I go through like, liability, making sure that they are protected, and they realized, oh, we don't have the right kind of insurance that we need as a business.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
So like logistics and wow, I didn't think about that.
So any game jam that's running through a university, they're almost guaranteed to have the right kind of insurance, but a lot of the smaller sites might not.
Yeah.
Now, would are you familiar with Hassan Piker?
Oh, that name sounds very familiar. Yeah.
He's a
He,
Twitch personality slash was he like a political streamer?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a very big
Josh is
political.
very fond of this person, so
Here's I feel like what needs to happen is a game jam, a Hasanabi, which is his Twitch title, a Hasanabi game jam. I feel like it needs to be organized, Adam. And
yeah.
I might reach out to you on the side and figure out get some tips,
How we can do it.
on how to organize this thing. I think it
Josh
would be
wants
pretty
to
fun.
be Hassan's voice actor.
Yeah, oh yeah. I want to make a Hasanabi dating simulator as well.
Yeah, so like a visual
But-
novel slash dating sim, but with
They're already a dating sim where you can date him.
Is
If there
there?
is,
No,
I'm
but we
gonna
saw the
find it.
meme. So I saw a meme and was like, Josh, this is your game. Because somebody drew it up. I don't think it was an actual game. And so I think Josh is trying to workshop us actually making this game.
I want to
So
so
that he can.
badly. I also
And
haven't
visual
made a
novels
game in a
are
while.
pretty. You could
But-
do like a visual novel in Unity pretty easily.
In about
Oh.
40 minutes, I can teach someone to make a visual novel in RenPy. It's a super easy engine to work in.
Heck yeah. There you go, Josh. Your dream is becoming a reality.
Yeah.
Song dating sim.
Yes. I mean, ultimately, I'm just looking for. I've got so many friends who I haven't worked with in a while. I think it would be fun to get everybody together on a project.
To
And
game
why
jam
not
this.
Hassan? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Hassan
Uh,
game jam. You, on top of being a organizer with the Global Game Jam, one of the other hats that you wear is an IGDA regional coordinator. Can you explain what the IGDA is?
So IGDA stands for International Game Developers Association. It's a professional association that advocates for game developers. So if you've ever heard of the ESA, the Entertainment Software Association, they're more focused on publishers and studios and like the business person side of things. IGDA is more focused on the workers, the people that are making the games themselves. Their mission is really to make sure that game developers have what they need to have a long, sustainable, and fulfilling career making games. We do a lot of stuff for advocacy and a lot of stuff for networking.
That's awesome. I think developers need as many advocates as they can because it's very easy for them to be exploited if they're not like aware of their actual power and the work that they do. So that's awesome that they have like, and it's international.
It is.
Wow, that's freaking awesome. So
Yeah, and I know that students get a discount if at least when I was in school, we got a discount if we wanted to join the IGDA. So I'm sure that's probably still something that they offer.
It is. There are a couple of different discounts. There's the student discount. There's even like just a low income discount. And then there's essentially like a global south discount. So if you are from a country where you don't have the kind of income that you would need to spend for a year membership, then you don't have to spend that much money. The other thing that I'll throw out there is that you don't need to be a member to take advantage of anything the IGDA does. Like, they aren't member-only meetings. There's tons of local chapters that you're welcome to go to. They're not going to check your membership card at the door.
Yeah, that's very true. Can you talk a little bit about some of the other perks that come with joining the membership?
So the main perk that I would talk to students about isn't even a necessary reason to spend money to join the IGDA anymore. So it used to be our scholarship program required that you had like the student membership. Now we don't even require membership for that scholars program. And that scholarship will send people to conferences. So, like, there's a GDC scholarship where we send them to GDC with an all access pass. We give them like an industry mentor. They get tours of studios in San Francisco. It's a really good program, and everyone I know that's gone through it essentially got their job in games through what they got in the program. We have other things like discounts for textbooks. Back when there were like Unity Plus discounts, we had a partnership with them where if you had the IGDA membership, you could also get Pro or Unity Plus for a discount. The benefits shift from year to year. And what I recommend is if you are going to like spend money to become a member, check the benefits first, see if the benefits are what you need. If not, like just go to the meetings and don't spend the money.
Yeah, again, it all comes back to networking, and that's probably like the most important thing when you're initially trying to join the industry. or expand your skill sets. So I think I tried to get a scholarship so that I could go to GDC, and I didn't get the scholarship, so I just went anyways and just paid the.
Yeah, I
the
recommend that. I've been going to GDC every year except, well, this year.
That's the one I
I
went
didn't
to.
physically attend. I know. I wanted to go, but I didn't feel comfortable
I
just with the
understand.
pandemic,
Yeah.
and then I felt really bad at
I
first
didn't
because I'm
feel
like,
it
all my
either. I was
friends
just like, ugh.
went, and
Yeah.
then all my friends caught COVID,
Yep.
so I felt less bad about not going.
Yeah.
it's such a unique place. I haven't been in a few years, but just the feeling of community that you get and camaraderie, being surrounded by like-minded people like that.
I'm there every
Um,
year, usually working at the IGDA booth.
oh,
Nice.
you're there at the booth.
Hmm.
So what is this is the question that Jess and I had going into the show. What is the IGDA's involvement with GDC? Are they the organization that helps run it, or is it just a partnership?
That's really a partnership. So the
Mhm.
organization that runs GDC is the same organization that runs GameDeveloper.com.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I don't recall if they've changed their name recently, but it is still like the exact same organization.
Gotcha.
So we partner with them for our volunteer program. They help us set up like the round tables that we do, and they give us expo passes for the volunteers.
So
Very
cool.
cool. So that sounds like for people who maybe can't afford the full cost of a GDC ticket, sounds like a good way to be able to go is if you volunteer with the IGDA.
So there's two volunteer programs that I highly recommend. The first one is the one that's put on by GDC itself. It's called the Conference Associate Program. It's essentially full-time work, so you're going to be working probably about 30, 40 hours the entire week at GDC, which gets in the way of enjoying the conference and doing a lot of the conference stuff you want to do. They give an all-access pass, so you can watch the talks later. And then our volunteer program is 10 hours of work, and we give an expo pass, which doesn't give access to as much stuff as the all access pass. But if you are just getting started in games, if you are a student, it is exactly the pass that you need.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. That's I highly recommend anybody who's interested in getting involved. That's probably the way to go because and you will want like those you won't want to work 40 hours that week. Like the 10 hours,
Yep.
that's perfect because there are so many
Oh, yeah.
great panels, round tables. Like the best way to meet devs is to just go to these things and like, when it comes time for the Q&A, like raise your hand, stay after the panels and talk to people. It's just there does not exist a better networking event in the games
Agree.
industry than GDC. So what other events does the IGDA organize? Because I know that GDC is not like the only one that they're involved with.
So we also have in the past had a leadership conference. So it was annual, then the pandemic hit, so it hasn't run for a little while. And that's mostly for people who are either in leadership or want to make that transition into leadership in games. And all of those talks are focused around leadership and management. We recently had Pathfindings, which was a Global South conference. So anyone from the Global South got free pass to go to this conference. And it was mostly focused on helping developers from countries that aren't typically associated with game development advance their careers.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, in general, it's a great organization. Do you have a read on like the IGDA's like the membership of IGDA, like how their feelings are towards the recent push towards like the labor collectivization and unionization that's sort of been brought to the forefront in the recent year with everything around Activision Blizzard and all of that.
Yes, I do, and I have some stats I can share
Oh,
with you.
yeah,
We love stats.
we do love stats. Jessica in particular loves stats.
Spreadsheets.
Yeah.
So we have what's called the Developer Satisfaction Survey. We send it out every year, and it has like demographic questions, but it also asks questions about things that are on everyone's minds during that year. So, like, we'll have questions like, "What's your opinion of NFTs in games?" And spoiler, nobody likes them.
Well, I am truly shocked for one.
I know. Given what Ubisoft is doing, you would be shocked to discover
Yeah.
that. But we have stats from, well, so this isn't from last year's. This is technically from, I think it's 2 years ago, because we're still waiting on the stats from the last one to
Yeah.
get released. They'll be probably in July. But we ask questions about unionization, and we also ask questions about discrimination and equal treatment. So the vast majority of members for the IGDA are in favor of unionization. So we asked about different types of union structures. So we had one that's discipline based, so like just a QA union, and 60% support that. A enterprise union, or like all of the different sites owned by a single studio, so like Activision, Blizzard, King, 58% support it. Now here's the big one: a national union, 78% in support.
Yes.
That's
And
all
awesome.
the
then
people.
an international union had a bit less. It was 62% in support.
Still good, but yeah.
I love the idea of a national union, and that is
Me
something I would
too.
love to see. And then that's really that's heartwarming to know that there's that much support for it, which I'm
Right?
not totally surprised because
Yeah.
it just makes sense, despite
True
what some of our leadership will like to say. But
And then I would say there's a couple other stats that aren't necessarily unionization, but that I think you guys might be interested in.
yeah,
74% of developers say that there is not equal treatment or equal opportunity at their company.
Wow. Not
Yeah.
surprised, but also wow.
Yeah, like just seeing that as a number is kind of eye-opening. Only 38% of companies have a formal complaint process for DEI issues. And out of that, only 41% of developers feel that those policies are adequately enforced.
I was going to say, then it's about enforcing them.
Yep.
So it's good that people are proactive and like knowing where the discrepancies are in their company. Hopefully, they feel empowered to like make the change or at least provide that feedback. So good stuff. No wonder they support unionization.
mhm.
But yeah,
And these all of these results are from 2 years ago. So with everything that's been going on,
right.
I'm very curious to see how that shifts the
Updated.
needle in July. So I'll be keeping an eye out for those results.
Yeah.
When they're published, will those be on the IGDA website?
Yep, they get published and released publicly.
Nice.
That's great. I'll have to join the emailing list so I get notified for that.
Just don't join the GitHub one for Unreal. Because you will get spammed. That's a lot.
Well, Adam, before we let you go, and this has been great. I loved all of that. I had some questions that our art designer had for you. So what is the thing that you are most proud of and why?
Oh, wow. That's a really
Profound.
open-ended question.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
So the thing that I am most proud of, honestly, it would be some of the things I've seen my students create. So like nothing that I've created personally, but having taught students and seeing them come in from like the first semester all the way to graduation, seeing them advance in their careers is really what motivates me to do the job as a professor, and it's incredibly rewarding.
Mhm. Do you have a lot of students that you stay in touch with that
I
are
do.
currently
Yeah.
in the industry? Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got quite a few that I'm still in touch with. Hopefully, a couple of them are watching this right now because I told them about it.
Oh, nice. Shout out to anybody, any former students of Professor Moore who are viewing the stream. And hopefully, this has been educational for you, and hopefully, you're finding success in whatever career and discipline you ended up in the industry. Now, if you had to do one thing again, if you had to do like go back in time to a young Adam, right? Just entering his education at UAT, what would you tell him to do differently, if anything at all? Maybe you would do all the same exact thing, and why?
Well, I'd probably tell myself not to do the MMO,
Fair
just
enough.
because I know how it's gonna end, and
Mhm.
I should have known how it was going to end at the time. I just thought that I've cracked it. I'll just make a big team and won't have that problem, and had different problems instead. Apart from that, I I don't know. I probably would have told myself to graduate faster, just to sort of avoid the collapse of the economy.
Yeah, right.
That's fair. Quite the calamity. And what it's unfortunate too, because it's like I think about everybody graduating right now and
I
the market
know.
that they're about to enter. It's not going to be much better, unfortunately.
Could you imagine trying to do real estate right now?
Well, like right now,
Yeah.
they're probably making bank in like
Well,
a
for
year.
it's a seller's
Wait for
market,
that
but
to
yeah.
collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. And I will never be able to afford a house, and that's just something I've accepted.
Same.
You
Retire.
in yeah, unless one of my NFTs blow up, and
Oh no. Oh no.
no, that crashed and I lost a lot of money. So speaking of which, you mentioned that a lot of in the statistics, like there's not a lot of confidence in NFTs.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on indie gaming and the inclusion of things like the metaverse, like NFTs?
So I keep metaverse and NFTs kind of separate in my mind because they are very different things.
Hmm.
I have like privacy concerns with blockchain. I
Yeah.
have issues with them being used in any sort of game economy. Like, could you imagine if Amazon's New World had been set up on a blockchain and there's no way to undo any of the bugs that hit their economy? Like
Nightmare.
it was every week you could see a new story about how the economy had crashed and burned and they needed to rewind time to fix something. But with the blockchain, there's no undo. Like everything is on the ledger unless you like undo the entire ledger and start a new one. So
That's a perspective because we've talked a lot about NFTs on this show and various reasons why we don't think they are viable and don't work in the games industry. But that is a perspective that I have not personally heard, and I've not thought about. But that makes a lot of
It makes
sense.
a lot of sense.
yeah,
It's like the
so like
sacred timeline, but like you can't touch anything on the timeline. You either destroy the timeline or
You better make a perfect game.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
0 bugs.
No bugs.
Don't make
Which
a
is
horror MMO on the blockchain.
and I totally lost my train of thought. Uh, wait,
My work here is done.
did you hear, Adam? Did you hear about the what was it? It was a an animated show that got canned
Oh,
because
yeah.
the one of the characters was a monkey that was an NFT that got stolen
Yep.
from the ledger, and without owning that NFT, they did not legally own the rights to that character for the show, so they had to can the show.
And that is incredibly dumb because the person who now owns those rights acquired them illegally,
Yeah.
but the person that doesn't own the rights that should have the rights now can't do anything with it.
Right.
And because it's such an unregulated industry, there's just no, like, at the moment, there's
It's just a
no,
grift.
yeah, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. It's an MLM. Sorry.
Essentially, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Anytime people talk about like play to earn games, like that money
Right.
has to come from somewhere. So it's coming from the other players that had to pay in to try and earn your money. Essentially, play to earn games are giant casinos.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what are your students' perspectives on NFTs and gaming and just in general? Like, I'm very curious what the current, like, that demographic thinks about crypto and that space.
They are very much of the exact same mindset that
Yeah.
it's a giant grift that anytime you're invited to like some sort of NFT project, it's going to blow up. Don't even get involved with it. I'd say that there's a very small minority of students that are super interested in blockchain as a concept,
Mhm.
but once NFTs get involved, like, oh, this is dumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That seems to be the consensus among developers. So glad to know that you're teaching them correctly.
It's just nice to have a temperature read on how they
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to be reaffirmed that, like, oh, I'm not just a boomer. I'm not just a grizzled old
Not just
jumpy
a
person.
hater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And also speaking of MLMs and casinos, I don't know if you played Diablo Immortals yet.
Oh Lord.
Not yet. I want to check it out. I've heard some interesting things about the
Me too.
monetization.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
Highly,
gameplay is fun. But yeah,
it is.
if you don't like monetization in games, you won't like Diablo Immortal because they obviously want to monetize the game. So
Well, of course, like you got to pay people.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
I will pay into any mobile game that I enjoy enough to keep playing.
That's how
Mhm.
I
So
feel.
if I
So
don't enjoy it, I won't pay for it. If I end up enjoying it, then I'll probably pay in, even if like it's not anything great that I'm buying, like
yeah.
any sort of nice microtransaction. But I feel like I'm sort of obligated to pay in if I've gotten enough enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
I
The
like that.
unfortunate it's always like these the free to play games that to really get the full value out of it, you end up spending more than $60 than a full price game
Mhm.
to get its like all of the features that you want. So it's always unfortunate. I would much rather pay something up front. Like, I don't mind paying $5, $10, $15 for something like Diablo Immortals, even though it's a mobile game, maybe even $20 to $30 if it's
Yeah.
worth that value. I wouldn't mind paying it. I just don't like the idea of like all of these little tiny things that add up because ultimately not even just for me, but the people who do get addicted to those casino gambling
Oh yeah.
features. Yeah, it's sad because 80%, 20% of the populace is going to end up spending 80% of the revenue in that game. Sorry, just a Josh rant.
No, go for it. Go for it.
So Adam, what outside sources of influence outside sources like influence your creativity and that you draw inspiration from?
Oh, that's another really good question. So a lot of it comes from just like my hobbies or, random things that I'm interested in. Like I have this weird obsession with like really bad 70s and 80s kung fu films.
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
So
Wait,
like
I'm
I'll put
sorry.
those on.
I don't mean to cut in
He
here.
sparked his interest.
Did you say 60s, 70s kung fu movies?
Yes.
As in, like, say, Two Champions of Shaolin.
So I haven't seen that one yet, but
Okay.
y-
The best
yeah,
of the. I'm
you
just
got the
saying.
right idea there.
Yes. Two Champions of Shaolin, the best version of that genre. It might have been like late 80s, or early 80s, like might have been like 1980 specifically. But it's like Romeo and Juliet meets Kung Fu meets like just.
Nice.
All right, sorry. Continue.
So you must be a
Love
big
it.
fan of that indie game Sifu, right? The martial arts game?
Yes, I am. I haven't played it yet, but it is like next on my queue to purchase.
That
Nice.
makes a lot of sense. It looks sick. I also haven't played it yet, but I've watched a lot of gameplay and I'm like, I've spent so much time watching these videos. Why don't I just play the game?
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Um,
like what motivates me is just anything that I'm really into. So like
Yeah.
pirates, for example. Like I love
Heck yeah.
everything to do with pirates, so making a pirate game in my free time.
oh, awesome.
Awesome. My high school mascot was pirate. So we're
Nice.
pretty cool.
Mine was Dutchman.
Dutchman?
Yes.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
I grew up in a Dutch village in the middle of Iowa.
Okay.
Wow.
That's cool.
Like the Flying Dutchman, or just like the
The
Dutch,
Flying
like the Dutchman.
Dutch.
Like
Oh,
a
Dutch
person.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, so a Dutch man. Okay. I love
Yeah,
that. That's just like your mascot is just like Dutch man.
Yeah.
I
I've
love
got to
it.
Google Dutchman. Like, I want to know what a Dutchman looks
Right?
like.
Like what?
Let's see. I'm just getting a bunch of boats. Oh, okay. No, this is a Dutch man. Here we go.
Cool.
All right. I'm gonna post it in chat. This was his mascot, the Dutch man.
Dutch
Oh,
man.
it's a long link. Um,
But yeah, pirates super cool. So I would also be inspired by pirates.
and outside of that, like, what are you currently playing or watching or reading? Just like in your free time, because I know that sometimes it's when you spend so much time when you in your professional career working on games, sometimes what you want to do is like not maybe sit down at a computer and play a game. So are there any other hobbies that you've got going on right now?
Oh yeah. So well, first I'll start with games. What I'm currently playing is on PC. I've been playing Time Spinner, which is an indie Metroidvania with very like Super Nintendo style graphics. So
Cool.
it's a bit of nostalgia there. I've also gotten back into No Man's Sky recently, just
Nice.
because I've seen a new expansion got me back into it. And also playing Pathfinder Second Edition with a group over Discord. For what I'm reading, I mostly read nonfiction, but the fiction book that I'm reading right now is On Stranger Tides, which is the book that the Pirates of the Caribbean movie was very loosely
Oh,
based off of.
nice. That's
Like,
awesome.
very, very loosely.
You liking it so far? Is it good?
Yes, I'm enjoying it a lot. But again, like if it's pirates, I'm probably gonna like it even if it's bad.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I'm about to start Neil Gaiman's American Gods.
Nice.
Got that as a gift for my birthday, and it's just been sitting on my
Nice.
shelf. So I need to take a crack at that. And Sandman, my roommate let me borrow his like full Sandman comic, so I want to read all of that before the show comes out, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Jess, do you have any?
Interject
Oh yeah,
real
by all
quick.
means. Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson is the best fantasy author of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
And you should.
100%.
Wait, you've read? Which ones have you
Yeah,
read? Ah! Exciting.
Primarily the Stormlight Archive.
Yes, nice.
Which is my favorite. Yeah.
Who's your character?
I love this book.
Which
Who's
one's you?
my character?
Who's your
Who's
character?
me?
Who is you?
I'm gonna say Moash just to make you mad.
That does make me mad. All right, I'm just gonna stop.
Bye, Allie.
Do you read Brandon Sanderson at all, Adam?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either, so I'm right there with you.
I'm
But we
taking
did
notes though.
nice. Heck yeah. We're learning a lot. I feel like I'm learning a lot today, so we're all learning from each other today. One of the last questions we wanted to ask you on the show was just like, are there a few things you could suggest to kind of like help with like this, diversity, unity, inclusion culture that we're trying to build in the gaming industry? Do you have any thoughts? It seems like you've been in the industry for quite a bit yourself, so anything you can suggest that would be, beneficial for that?
So I can't think of anything specific, just some general advice for anyone who's watching.
Yeah, we'd love that.
And that is just that, like, anytime that you're on a team where everyone thinks the same way and everyone has the same ideas, you're not going to see the problems that you're creating as you're building the game. You're going to create something that's not as good as it really could have been if there are people with outside perspectives on your team. Diversity doesn't just mean like you have someone who is a minority on the team.
Right.
It means that you have diverse perspectives, and it means you're going to have people that disagree, that have different perspectives on what the right way to move forward is. And at the end, like the end goal is that you make the best game possible, or best software, whatever it is you're working on. And how you do that is by having the right team. You could put together a team of the absolute best programmers, artists, designers that you have at a company, and they could be the worst possible team. Just because they don't have that diversity, they don't work well together. But
Right.
if you put together the right team, they will outperform your best people every time.
So true. Like, I agree 100%. Having that representation is so important because, different perspectives are thinking proactively about different things. So agree that if you're surrounded by a bunch of people who are on the same path, it's like you might get to that area where you have like a shell of a game and it's not even fun. Like, so you want to have that variety of perspectives. So I love that answer.
Yeah. And from a
Aligns your
design
plan.
perspective, like if you come in, like one person is only going to have their personal experience and their background to draw from. So if that person is the designer or the artist, you're going to end up with, even if they're a phenomenal artist, you're going to end up with a lot of characters that reflect and represent that one person's experience.
Right.
So you need multiple artists with different background and diversity to create multifaceted characters that represent more of the world's, demographic. So
Heck yeah.
Adam, it was thank you again so much for coming on. I'm so glad that you reached out because this conversation has been delightful. Before we let you go, is there anything you want to call out? Any shout outs? Anything you'd like to promote? Any of your games?
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Sure. So anyone who wants to follow me on Twitter can find me as @Morningstar2651. And I also have a very tiny YouTube channel where I talk about current events in the game industry and how to make games. I'm actually putting together like a little series for absolute beginners on how to make your first game.
Nice.
So if you go to YouTube and you search for Adam Moore, you're going to find a ton of people with the exact same name as me. So try searching for Adam Moore Game Development or Adam Moore Game Dev. And you're going to have a better time of finding it.
Here we go.
That's fair.
Oh, 722 subscribers, Adam.
Heck yeah.
We got a mini celebrity here.
I started the channel at the end of 2020.
Nice.
Good timing too, because like a lot of people are just stuck in their houses.
Yeah.
I know, right? But yeah,
So,
give Adam a follow, and if you want to learn more about the website or the game jams, definitely I'm sure Adam's going to be talking about that on Twitter. So
yeah, and is it all right if anyone does have any questions? Is it okay if they reach out to you?
Yes, it is. So they can reach out to me directly on Twitter. My DMs are open. And there's also a contact email address on the YouTube page.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Adam. You're a lifelong professor, and I've learned a lot today. So
I'm glad.
Thanks, and hopefully we'll have you on again sometime. It would be cool to talk with you again.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks
all right,
again.
Adam. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.
And as we start to wrap out this show, I want to thank everybody who also Mad Lad, are we on the 2 screen now, or is there a weird void? Did I mess up?
I didn't do the thing fast enough.
Yeah,
we're supposed to do a transition screen. Pretend
That's
there's
fine.
like pretty music and stuff, everyone. Like really
pretty
nice music.
La, 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 la. I didn't realize you were a beatboxer.
Yo, keep it up. Go. No, don't stop.
Oh,
Hassan.
okay, cool.
Hassan.
Yeah. Hassan.
All right, everybody. For all of our first-time viewers, thank you for tuning in. For everybody
Thanks so much.
Tuned in once again, yeah, I know. It's just all right. We'll work on the transitions.
Wait,
nobody's perfect.
Who said something?
It's just here. Transitions. We'll work on it.
Speaking of Wait, I don't know if that's a good segue or not. I'm gonna try it.
Also, I think our stream is black right now.
Oh, yay.
Is it?
It is. Our stream
No
is
way.
black. No, it's not. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Don't
We're
scare
good.
me.
Good, good, good.
All right.
Oh god.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna reference Pride Month, but I wasn't sure if like that would be a good like.
Happy Pride Month!
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Happy Pride Month.
I don't know if that was a good transition. Or, anyway, go ahead.
As
Sorry.
the resident LGBTQ+, I wish everyone a happy Pride Month, and
Yeah.
even for those of you that are not have not come out, happy Silent Pride Month. And yeah,
And
Cool.
you know what? If you're straight, kiss.
I'm reporting you. Leave the stream
kiss,
right now. Christian, I'm
no,
just kidding.
like, look, if you're a boy, kiss a boy. You know.
Oh my
I do it
God,
every
no,
once in a while.
Josh.
It's fun.
Yeah, that's the.
We should unpack that on another show.
What? It's fun to kiss boys sometimes. Who? What?
True.
Whatever.
Yeah, sure.
I do, you know, like whatever.
I do.
Sometimes it's fun to kiss.
I'm gonna
Thank
read.
you, everybody. Have a good evening. Hope you all have a good Sunday. Happy
Yeah,
Pride Month. Josh is canceled.
Yeah, I should. Yep.
No,
Thank you so
the
much.
most cancelable thing was the Moash thing. Like, who picks Moash as their spirit animal?
Moash
I don't-
is look. He's a tragic hero, right? Like he
Oh,
went through some
tragic.
stuff.
What? Tragic hero? I have no like. Unacceptable. Hold on. There's this.